Follow that breaking news out of Southern California right now. Multiple fires are burning across Los Angeles County. These are live pictures from Mandeville Canyon. The Palisades fire has expanded as it turns toward Mandeville Canyon and Brentwood. The fire being fueled by strong winds and dry conditions the area has not seen in a long time. The fires have burned at least 56 square miles. That's more than half the size of the city of Sacramento. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Cecil Hannibal. Right now, the two biggest fires are the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire. These fires have killed at least 11 people, but officials expect that number to rise. Hundreds of thousands of people remain under evacuation orders and warnings, and officials say at least 5,000 structures have been destroyed. The devastation from the Palisades and Eaton fires ranking among the worst in state history. And take a look at the numbers today. The Palisades fire has burned more than 22,000 acres with 11% containment. The Eaton fire has burned more than 14,000. Containment is up to 15% there. The smaller Kenneth and Hearst fires have burned roughly 1,000 acres and 800 acres, respectively. The Kenneth fire is 80% contained, while the Hearst fire is 76% contained. State officials provided an update on the state's response and preparedness for the fires, with more strong winds on the way. CAL FIRE says they are increasing their resources right now.
So as we continue to prepare into this next event we're coming forward to, we're increasing resources, as Director Ward said, to over 14,000 first responders, over 1,219 fire engines across California and our partners in the western states, including Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Montana, just to name a few. And we continue to get support across the states and internationally.
We're now learning federal agents are leading the investigation into at least one of the Los Angeles County wildfires. Authorities announcing today ATF will lead an investigational task force to find out how the Pacific Palisades fire started earlier this week. There's indication the fire started accidentally, since there was no reported lightning that day nor any transformer lines impaired. But arson is not being ruled out either. The task force is made up of local, state, and federal partners. Well, smoke-clogged air due to the wildfires prompting LA County officials to issue a health emergency declaration on Friday. Officials are warning the smoke and particulate matter could impose immediate and long-term threats. The use of power air blowers, including leaf blowers, has been banned to prevent stirring up ash. The county's Department of Public Health advises keeping windows closed and staying indoors if you can see or smell smoke, wearing an N95 or P100 mask if outdoors for long periods, and avoiding the use of fireplaces, candles, and vacuums. Another live look right now over Los Angeles County. You can see all of the smoke and that fire that continues to rage across this area of near the Pacific Palisades. And we want to check in with our meteorologist, Dirk Verdorn, who's tracking the conditions that firefighters are facing there right now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at, again, the smoke that's being produced. So this is an indicator of just how aggressive or active a fire is. And so the two big fires, the Eaton fire and the Palisades fire, out of those two, you can see there's not nearly as much smoke being produced by the Eaton fire as there still is for the Palisades fire. That's because it's in some rough terrain. You're up in the mountains and it's harder to get to. And so a lot of what they're doing to fight that fire is just doing airdrops, but it's still producing quite a bit of smoke, and it's going from the Santa Monica Mountains right out into the Pacific Ocean. So the good news there is air quality not impacted as much because of that. Now, if there's a shift in the winds, that can completely change. But right now we're looking at levels that are moderate with the particulates that are in the air. So that's including the smoke. You can see that from Los Angeles to Glendale, Inglewood, Torrance, Downey, all these areas are in the area of yellow. And so nothing too thick as far as the smoke affecting folks in the LA basin. Wind forecasts. We are going to see the winds increase a bit as we go through tonight and into tomorrow. So here we are just after midnight tonight. The winds over the mountains are going to be picking up. These are wind gusts that are projected. It'll taper off, and then we see things pick up again as we go into Monday. Here we are Monday morning. We can see those winds all basically coming from the north and moving to the south, but nothing like we saw this past week with those just incredible winds that were 80 to 90 miles per hour over the mountains. And so that's good news, but still the firefight is going to be dealing with some winds. Cecil?
Dirk, thank you. Well, President Joe Biden says the federal government will make sure California has every possible resource to fight these fires and help survivors. Biden's major disaster declaration is in effect. He has directed the federal government to cover 100% of various firefighting costs for 180 days. The Defense Department is also offering additional support on the front lines, from active duty troops to Navy helicopters for fire suppression. Well, meanwhile, FEMA says they have the resources to respond after a recent injection of cash from Congress for disaster relief. Officials say those impacted by the fires can start applying for critical needs assistance and initial payment for supplies like food and fuel. They say it is just one of many programs that will be made available.
Recovery from these fires is going to be complex. I've seen many disasters throughout my 4 years in this role. This is certainly one of the worst that I have seen.
The rebuilding effort will largely be overseen by President-elect Donald Trump after he takes office later this month. California Governor Gavin Newsom now inviting Trump to tour the damage firsthand, adding in a letter, quote, "In the spirit of this great country, we must not politicize human tragedy or spread disinformation from the sidelines." Those comments come after Trump criticized Newsom's response to the fires earlier this week and called on him to resign. During his campaign, Trump threatened to withhold federal fire aid from California if Newsom didn't change certain policies. Although this week he suggested they would work together on the rebuilding effort. Northern California firefighters deploying to assist in Southern California. A very specialized Sacramento team just left in the last 24 hours. KCRA 3's Aaron Heff shows us their job ahead.
A tireless search awaits as parts of Southern California lie decimated. The work of fighting these wildfires still proved challenging, but in their wake, specialty teams are now coming to the call.
So this is a very specialized unit. There's only 28 urban search and rescue teams federally in the United States. We happen to have one of them, and the Sacramento Fire Department is the lead agency on this team.
I met with Sacramento Fire's Justin Sylvia less than a day since his department sent around 40 specialty search and rescue members to Southern California.
Now these members that are going down there are there for searching for victims, whether that be deceased victims or victims that are still viable.
Assisting among the rubble and now hollow shells where buildings once stood.
They need to go through and search methodically through all the rubble, through all the ash, through buildings that are pretty much unsafe to occupy at this point. Our members are still going to go in there and conduct a very thorough search and look for any type of signs of human activity.
Training tirelessly. Devastating moments like this is what this team is made for. Seen here packing up supplies, their team will be working in part with GPS, lining up where homes once stood and systematically tracing their way through each location.
They're going to be using dogs, they're going to be using specialized search tools, and they're going to go and they're going to start checking boxes of, okay, we've searched this place, we've gotten the Delta side of the house, we've gotten the Charlie side of the house. They're going to make sure that they go through every piece of every house that they are assigned to and just do a very thorough search.
Aaron Heft, KCRA 3 News.
The Sacramento City Fire USNR team will be down in Southern California up to 2 weeks at a time. Well, nightly curfew orders will continue in the evacuation areas of both the Palisades and Eaton fires. Anyone who is not emergency personnel are not allowed in the area between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Officials today emphasizing the curfew is designed to limit looting.
In total, we have made 22 arrests between the Eaton Palisades fire, 19 arrests in the Eaton area, and 3 in the Palisades area. All these individuals were in areas they were not supposed to be there, meaning they had no business being there. Of the 4 arrested last night, 2 were arrested for unauthorized entry of emergency areas. Basically, we had 2 arrests for curfew violations.
The curfew also keeps people out of hazardous areas. Officials say anyone found in violation of the curfew, even if they own property in the area, will be subject to arrest or misdemeanor citation. Attorney General Rob Bonta is offering tips for Californians to protect themselves after concerns of fraud and price gouging, reminding people that price gouging during a state of emergency is illegal.
We've seen businesses and landlords that use increased demand during emergencies to jack up the price of essential supplies and services, of gas and water, batteries, first aid supplies, construction materials, and housing, including hotels and including short-term rentals. It's called price gouging, and during a state of emergency like there is currently in effect in Ventura County and Los Angeles County, it is illegal. You cannot do it. It's unlawful. It is a crime, punishable by up to a year in jail and $10,000 fines.
Bonta says in order to protect yourself from scams, you should verify their credentials by checking licenses, certifications, and reviews. Be skeptical of upfront payments and avoid paying large sums of money up front. Use official channels to verify government representatives and monitor your accounts for any suspicious activity. Report any suspected scams to local law enforcement. Well, the fires have left many animals trapped and hurt. Cats, dogs, horses, donkeys, and even a giant pig, all among those needing to get out. One woman evacuated her 175-pound tortoise Tiptoe. Pasadena Humane Society has taken in more than 400 animals in the past 2 days alone, most of them with burns and smoke inhalation. Many in the community are jumping in to help by donating blankets, food, and air filters.
First, I didn't know where they were all going to go. I didn't know if we had the number of hands to take care of them.
Any animal that's out there, either owned or wild, like we're going to be expecting to see them.
People are good. You know, with all the bad stuff that's going on, people are good. And it's great that the community is helping each other.
Well, the shelter even received a peacock. They say it was rescued by an evacuee who dropped it off in a wagon. The shelter says they are in need of monetary donations. You can donate at PasadenaHuman.org. We will continue to follow the latest developments on these Southern California wildfires, both on air and on our KCRA 3 News app. Make sure you turn on those push alerts to get the latest updates.